everybody, it's Joni Young here. Welcome back to my channel for another painting tutorial in acrylics. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a holiday lamppost working on a 16 by 20 stretched canvas. It's been primed with acrylic gesso. I have 3 brushes here I'm going to use. If I happen to add any more, I'll be sure to mention them, as well as colors, and I'll have everything listed below this video in the description box for you. So 3 brushes here, a number 8 filbert, a 50 filbert, and a number 3 round brush. I have the following colors. Feel free to change yours up, use whatever you prefer or whatever you have on hand. Mars Black, Titanium White, Luminous Yellow by Holbein, Hooker's Green Hue Permanent, Napthol Crimson Red, and Luminous Red by Holbein. So if you guys are ready to paint this, let's get started. I'm going to start by creating a glowing background of black with white and make soft tones of gray, getting lighter and lighter, where we're going to have our lamppost right about here. Then we're going to add some holly berries here and a little bit here, just to kind of add a pretty little frame around here, an accent, make it look like a Christmas card. So what I'm going to do is wet my canvas with a bit of water first. This will help me blend my acrylic and get a thinner layer of paint. You want to work thin to thick, thickest being in the foreground, or on the one thing that you really want to stand out from everything else. Okay, we're ready to come in. Start adding a little bit of black first. And we're going to just catch the edges here and make a nice oval frame to start. You can see what ease I have here spreading and blending this paint around on a wet canvas. I'll add just a little bit more black here. And then, not washing my brush out, I'm going to scoop up some white and I'm going to line it up where I left off with the black and partially on the white canvas. And we're just going to go around and around, making softer tones, bringing it back out to those corners. This just helps to blend everything and get more of a gradual changing from black to our lightest gray shade that we're going to have. Now this is a nighttime scene, so I'm not going to add a sun, and I don't want to add a moon either. I want the only light source to be coming from the lamppost. So I'm going to just make this a neutral gray, not too light, not too dark. Keep in mind it's going to dry a little bit darker than this as well. I'm going to use a little misting spray bottle with water to dampen these areas up that are starting to dry, so I can just blend a little bit more. I'll just set that brush aside. And before I do anything else, I'm going to use my little round brush, and I'm just going to add some trees for some background. A little bit of black, a little bit of white, some water on my brush. And I'm just going to come in and start pulling and wrapping around like this twisting and rolling. It's all in the little twist and roll while you pull that brush along and glide it along the canvas. Now, if your brush and your paint is not wet enough, it might be hard to do this. So make sure that you get a good feel for how much water you need. It also helps to have wet underpainting that I'm adding this to. This is wet on wet right now. Had a little drip there, but that's okay. We're going to be adding some snow down here on the bottom. I'm going to make the tree trunk a little bit thicker, and then I just want it to disappear. I don't need to see the end of the tree trunk. I'm going to take some white, clean brush, and just add a little bit on the branches. Maybe we've got a little bit of snow on the tops of these branches. Maybe some coming up the tree trunk. I'm just going to take a little bit more white, start to bring it down here. I'm going to switch over to my number 8 filbert brush, take some white, and just gently brush it down here, skipping some areas just so that we get a little bit of dips in the snow for light and shadow. Okay, and I'm going to take my black and I'm going to just start painting the base of our lamppost. Roughly like maybe 2 inches, 2 or 2.5 inches. Yeah, I'd say about 2 inches long. I'm going to make it a little bit narrower right here. I love painting lampposts and adding them to my landscapes, whether it be fantasy or more realistic. They're just a lot of fun to paint. So now I'm going to make the thinner body of the lamppost. Got to back up and have a look at this and make sure that it's straight up and down. Sometimes when I'm filming, I'm on a weird angle and it can make it a little bit tricky. Okay, so I'm going to just add a little line here. We're going to have a wreath as well, so that might cover up part of this. And then I'm going to go on an angle, 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 and then across. So straight and then angle, angle, like diagonal. We're then going to go up from those lines, bring them to a point up top here. Bring that out a little bit wider. Create a little tiny dome or just a little arch. The filbert brush is the perfect shape to do that. And then add another little dab there. Another little sort of half circle there. This is just to make it a little decorative. You can definitely change it up. I'm going to add just a little ball on the top. Cut in here again. I'm going to rinse my brush out. And just come inside, take a little bit of that off. I can even take some of the gray background off. If you catch it when it's still a little bit wet, hasn't quite dried yet, you can do this. And I'm going to add a little bit of black and white to make some gray again here, and then just go over this area. Take a little bit more white. I'm going to add a little bit of white for some snow or highlight here. Just with the belly of the brush, just a little gentle pressure, little taps, making it kind of patchy like. Give it that snowy look. Every time I see or paint like an ornate type of old-fashioned, I guess, lamppost, it always takes me back to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in Narnia. I never read the books, but the movies were really great. I know I should actually read the books because the books always are better than the movies, aren't they? That's what everyone says. Okay, so just adding a little bit of light on the lamppost there. I'm going to come in on the top with some white as well and paint inside here. Now this could be a little bit of snow or just a light gray. I might come back and add a little bit more black to that. I'll just let it dry. And then I'm going to push this off a little bit up here. I like to kind of fine-tune things and shape them as I go. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more black. And I'm going to add a little shadow here. I'll take a little bit of white with that just so that it's a little creamier, not so dark. I'm going to add some more black in here now, just layer it on, make it nice and dark. It's already dark, but I just want to make it a little darker. And then work a little bit of that down there for an extra shadow. I'm going to take a little bit more white. I've rinsed my brush out so it's nice and clean. And just create sort of a snowy path going off into the distance, just disappearing. So gradually gets lighter and lighter in there. Then we could have a few more trees in here. I've been painting a lot of pine trees, like Christmas trees lately, so I want to paint just some more of these trees just to change it up so you guys can learn different types of trees in these tutorials. Back over to my round brush, water, black and white for a darker gray. Anything darker than the background will work. And just gonna start doing the same type of trees, just a little smaller, on a smaller scale. Pull it back a little bit. Gonna add some white in here. And I'm just gonna lightly tap and drag, like barely touching the canvas, so that it looks like just little bits of snow collecting on the bark. And then we'll add some kind of lumpy looking bits of snow collecting on these branches as well. I'll just come in with a little bit more black, make this a little bit darker. A few more little shadows there. A few more shadows and branches. Just gonna pull these branches out a little bit. And then I'll add a little tree back here. And we'll just bring this one down a little lower. Take a little bit of water, some white, and just work out that gray that's in my brush. And I'm going to add little bits of snow on these branches as well. A few little icicles maybe. Just kind of pull and flick lightly. We don't know where that path leads, but it's definitely inviting. A little bit of a shadow in here from that tree. And a little bit of snow on this branch. Okay, I'm just going to come up here and add a little bit more black. Darken this a little bit with some darker gray. And then I'm going to outline and just go over these areas here, these little decorative pieces, and then a nice clean outline in black. I'm going to make sure this is dried off with my hair dryer, and then we're going to start adding the warm yellows for the light inside. Okay, so now that it's all dried off, I'm going to take my warm yellow and white, mix that up. This is the Luminous yellow, but you can use any yellow that you want. And then we're going to have a few black lines for the design and to separate the panels in our lantern, our lamp here. I want to just make this a little bit warmer. I'm going to add a little bit of red into my white and my yellow. Work the excess paint off. I'm going to scumble around, just blending, dry brushing that. got a little bit extra yellow now. Saturate a little bit more. And then I'm going to take some white, really brighten that up, soften those colors, and we'll add that warm light down here in this area that the lamp would be shining down on. And then I'm going to take some white and I'm going to brighten the center here. I'm going to take some black, go across there, clean these edges up once more. Add a little bit of water to my brush, loosen up, thin that paint out. And we're going to add where we have these lines here. We're going to go from there and pull down. Okay, now I want to start working on the wreath. So I'm going to take some green, some black, a little bit more of the green, and I'm just going to kind of fluff around like this to make a circle. I'm not going to rinse my brush out. I'm going to take some yellow and some white and I'm going to mix that up. And then I'm going to dab a bunch of lights on here. This is going to give us some lights and also some lighter spots on our wreath, some lighter shades of green. Add a little bit more white with a clean brush in here. As this dries, it's going to dry a little bit darker. Mix up a little bit more of the yellow with the white. And just soften and blend that out. I'm going to go over with a fresh coat of yellow and white. And we're going to have our ribbon here, so that's why I'm not adding any there. Okay, so I'm going to start the ribbon with some red and a little bit of black. Make a dark red base first. And we'll have a little dab here that you can barely see, just a little circle right here in the part of the lamppost, and then we're going to do 2 rounded triangles for the bow. I'll come down and wiggle for the ribbons hanging. I'm going to come inside with the crimson. And then I'll be drying this off so that I can add the brightness that I want. Okay, so now that it's dry, I'm going to take some of both of my reds here. And I'm going to gently pull in from the outside and then make it narrower, narrower. I'm going to dab the center. And then add it to the ribbon. I'll take a little bit of white, mix that up with yellow and red so it doesn't turn pink, but more of like a bright peach color. We'll add that in here just to brighten that up. And then we'll add a little bit here for some light catching the ends. Okay, now I'm going to start adding some holly. I'm going to add some holly here and maybe some up here too. I'm going to use my number 8 filbert, some black and some green. I'm just going to mix it right here. I'm going to have an area here. I'm just kind of blocking this in. And then I'll make it more spiky like how they are. And I'll have some up here for a nice balance. You can even have some other bits of greenery. Just a little sweep. I just missed my palette here. Make it a little bit damp so that I can thin my paint out and have it glide a little bit better. Okay, now I'm gonna come in and shape. I'm gonna probably need a little bit more green. I'm just gonna take a little bit of white in with that. And we're gonna go just in and out like that, making those spikes, pointy bits on the holly leaves that they have. down a little bit more white in here. And we'll gradually just brighten the ends. Added a little bit more of my green to my palette. I really like the way all these colors look with the gray in this painting. It's kind of like a little bit of old-fashioned black and white, and then adding a pop of color. I'm making some of the lines a little thicker to make it look like it's curved over, that there's a bit of a turn to the leaf. And then we're gonna add just sneak another little one in there. And don't forget, we're gonna add our berries too. And I wanna go over with and lighten the green gradually. And give some of these a little outline. There's lots of different types of holly, but I really like adding this little bit of minty green to the ends. Kind of outlines them. And then you can bring a little line in if you want. You can use you might find it easier to use your detailing brush, small liner, or the round. So a little bit more white. Loading the end of my brush, that's where I want to be applying the pressure with. I can't wait to add the bright red berries. I just finished up another winter tutorial, 2 today. Had an extra big cup of coffee this morning, I guess, and I just really love bringing you guys tutorials and painting winter scenes. It's called Frosty Friends, the tutorial I did, and it's 3 snowmen hanging out together and some holly and berries. Just gonna go over some of these. Add a little bit of extra white here. Yeah, it's a really cute tutorial and painting. Hopefully you guys get to see it. You may have seen it already, depending on when this airs, when that one airs. So just a little bit of black in here to mute the screen a little bit. Darken this up, green and black. I'm going to use my round brush and I'm going to take some red, the crimson red, and I'll start up here and make them kind of staggered and grouped together. Some big, some a little bit smaller. Okay, then I'll add some here. I'll add a few more here and then I'll dry this off and we'll come in with some highlights. And actually, just before we do that, I'm going to add some stems. And I'm just going to take a little bit of black and just add a few little stems here. thin my paint out a little bit more with some water. Okay, so these berries are starting to dry, the first layer of red, and now we can come in and add a mixture of neon red with the crimson red. Tiny bit of white and just a little bit of yellow in there as well. This will give us a brighter shade and keep it nice and bright once it dries. Hint is and trick is just to have a little bit of red in there or white in there. Okay, so I'm going to go around. You don't have to add it to the whole berry. You can add a little bit here and there, maybe a little on the bottom, a little on the top, just because the lighting would be different. Some of them would be a little bit darker and more in shadow from the leaves, and maybe some berries in front and around some of them. So keep that in mind. These ones down here, I'm going to add just a little bit more of the crimson in with my mixture, so they're a little bit darker. A little on the top, a little bit on the bottom. This will also be a nice start for our highlights. We're going to make them look a little shiny by adding a little dab of white after. Let's just pick up a little bit more of that crimson. Love crimson red. Red's got to be one of my favorite colors. Sometimes I like to use Pyro red for my berries and roses and, well, all sorts of stuff. Today I just wanted to show you a different mixture. I'm just adding a few other little ones here. All right, so I'm going to take a clean brush and a little bit of white, a little dab on the end of my brush, and we'll add a little dab here, even a little bit on the bottom. You can have a little highlight on the bottom of them too, but just this little dab really helps to give these a little extra shine. Now, if it mixes in with your red, that's okay too. Another tutorial of mine that had some berries in it was painted by one of you, maybe even watching right now, and I commented on it today. We have a Facebook group, and it's actually a really big group, and I'm sorry to say I'm not accepting any more members in. We're at 39,000 and it's a lot. So anyways, I'm getting off track. I can't remember your name, who posted and shared your beautiful picture of cottage and berries, and I really loved your touch of pink. So just doing this was reminding me of that. I think I'm making the light pink right now, like you may have when you were coming in and adding your maybe little bits of snow on your berries, and it just was so pretty. And then there was a little bit of light pink touches on the snow too. Really, really pretty. So I don't know if you're watching, but that really stood out to me today and I loved it. So many of you guys are sharing and painting beautiful pieces of art, and I see them all. Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, wherever you share them and tag me in them. I can't, unfortunately, talk to each one of you personally. It would just, I would never get anything else done because I get so many comments everywhere and I love it, and it really inspires me and motivates me to want to create more tutorials for you guys, but I really enjoy watching them all or looking at all of them everywhere. Okay, so I just cleaned my brush off, and I'm gonna take a little bit more black and a little bit more green here, and I'm gonna go around and kind of in between these berries and kind of just fine tooth everything here and give a little bit extra depth and shadow. I forgot the stems on this one area here, so I'll just add them now. No big deal. Okay, then I'm going to choose a few leaves to add a little bit of the light green edging to. So I'll come in here. Again, this is just white and green. Load the end of the brush. And add a little line or a few little lines here and there. From wherever you have a point, that's where you'll add a line and just pull into the center. I'm just gonna water down my paint a little bit, and then I can paint some thinner leaves that come in here, little thinner lines. Gosh, I feel like I can't talk today. You ever have those days where you're just like, I'm just not going to talk today? You guys know what I'm doing. See how it just makes them stand out though? It makes them pop. And there's so many different types of holly out there. I'm just going to mix up a little bit more of the green in with the white and the black. Shade this a little bit more gradually in here because it's looking really just like goes straight to black in here. I need this to be a little more gradual. I'm going to see if there's anywhere else. Yeah, right in this area. Let's just soften that. Tone it down a little bit. And then back over to the white and the green. Loop and scoop. Sometimes if you're a little nervous about what you're supposed to do, if you just say the technique out loud as you do it, it can help. And it really is just a little loop and scoop, just creating these little scallops. Adding just a little bit more green in here. It's kind of just disappeared, hasn't it? Let's bring it back, make it more visible. I want to brighten this one up a little bit more. I'm going to take some white. It'll help clean up the edges a little bit more as well. And if you add these little dabs on either side, little lines like this, it can look like little pine needles. So you can add a few of those here and there if you want. I just think this is such a fun painting. I'm gonna add a few more little branches connecting these little berries here. Some green, white, and black. Have a little bit more kind of coming down to the trees here. I'll take a little bit more white with a clean brush. And just add a bit more to the distance here. Maybe a little bit more snow on these bigger guys, these bigger branches here. I've got a hint of green in there. I don't know if I like that. I don't think I hate it, but it's not really what I was going for back there. I'm just gonna make a little bit more gray. Gradually make it a little bit darker. And now with a clean brush, some more white. And this can be whatever it looks like to you. If it may look like stairs, or just a path that goes back farther and farther. Whatever it looks like to you is what it can be. I don't like to decide. I don't really know myself, and I think that's what I like about not making it absolutely clear. I like those paintings myself that make me wonder. A little bit more snow in here. More white, make it a little brighter. Add a little bit of yellow to it. I'm just about done this painting. I've just got my little filbert brush here. I think I want to add a little bit more of a shadow just in the mid area here of the tree. And a little bit on that side. A little bit of white blended in there to make it kind of just disappear off into the snow. Well, I really loved painting this one. There's something very nostalgic about it to me, and I'm always going for that. That's my preferred type of winter and Christmas, like memories and just what I'm drawn to. I love it. And it's a little mysterious back here, a little bit inviting. Hopefully it's inviting. And I invite you all to paint along and subscribe to my channel for more if you haven't already, where there's over 1,000, can you believe it? 1,000 different tutorials here, and even more on Patreon. And if you become a Patreon member today, you're really helping contribute to the making of all these tutorials that take a lot of time. Sometimes I paint 7 days a week, and it brings me joy, and I know it's making a difference out there, and I like making the world a little bit of a better place just by teaching others what has brought me so much joy, and that's how to paint. And pay it forward by sharing it with others yourselves. If you enjoy painting and it's brought you joy, let other people know. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoy painting this one. I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!